And for more, we turn to Saima Mohsin, a senior anchor for Dawn TV, a 24-hour English language news channel in Pakistan. She joins us from Islamabad. Saima Mohsin, thank you for joining us. What do we know about the bombing in northwest Pakistan?
These were people from the United States training the paramilitary soldiers in the tribal areas. It's been an ongoing process over the last few years here. They were on their way to a school that's just recently been renovated using US aid money. And they were invited as guests as a vote of thanks, really. They were part of a convoy on their way when they hit what we understand was a roadside bomb. Alongside the 3 US military personnel who were killed were 3 schoolgirls and a Frontier Corps member too. And also more than 100 schoolgirls have been injured in this. We've been speaking to the hospitals there, and they say that most of these young girls came in with shrapnel wounds.
The U.S. Special Envoy Richard Holbrooke said this operation wasn't a secret one. Was it well known that they were all there?
Well, whether people knew that these were this group was actually working and operating in this specific area is not known at the moment. But as I said, this has been an ongoing program. It's been made public. People have talked about how United States personnel were going to come over to Pakistan to train the Frontier Corps personnel here. But we don't know how much knowledge there was. And this, at this point in time, is the big question. Who knows about which US projects are being conducted in the tribal areas, be it in the NWFP or FATA, on that border region next to Afghanistan. And that is, of course, a huge concern to the United States and, of course, Pakistani authorities, because there are, under the Kerry-Lugar bill and USAID projects, hundreds of projects that they're planning on working on. So right now, what I'm being told is they're reviewing those and addressing what kind of security threats there are.
The Pakistani Taliban has claimed responsibility for this, whatever that means. Do we know whether they were targeting the Frontier Corps or were they targeting U.S. trainers?
Again, was this potluck? Were they targeting a convoy? We know that this was a publicised event in terms of the fact that it was an inauguration of this school. It was renovated, and obviously people in the area will have known that this was US aid money that had renovated this school. But as to whether this was potluck or a targeted bombing, we're not sure just yet. We're waiting to hear. I've been speaking to US Embassy personnel today as well. What we're not sure of is whether this convoy happened to be passing and happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, or whether this IED device was planted there to target the nearby school.
Saima, there's quite some sensitivity about the presence of U.S. troops on the ground in Pakistan. So what has been the reaction to this news?
Exactly, as you say, Gwen, there is hostility to the presence of be it US aid workers or US military personnel. We all know that controversy of US boots on the ground in the tribal areas last year. But at the moment, there's all sorts of speculation. There's been a huge scandal over the presence of black water. There's been issues as to what projects are being conducted by US. And of course, we also know the controversy surrounding the Kerry-Lugar bill. So a lot of hostility towards US, be they aid workers or military personnel operating in these areas.
At the same time that this is happening, there have been conflicting reports about the death of a Taliban leader, Hakimullah Masood. Have we heard anything more about that? Any confirmation?
Well, of course, Gwen, the Taliban is insistent that he is not dead. This was, of course, the leader that stepped into the shoes of Baitullah Masood, who was also killed in who was killed in a US drone strike last August, in August 2009. Hakimullah Masood had appeared in a video a few months ago, and the Taliban are denying that he's been killed by this US drone attack. However, they haven't actually come forward with any kind of evidence to prove that he hasn't been killed or seriously injured in this attack, and be that in the form of a video or, of course, a telephone call. The Taliban call local journalists who recognise the voice and can say, yes, this was Hakimullah Masood. Taliban are denying it. Both US and Pakistani intelligence officials are still trying to confirm that.
There's a lot more uncertain than certain there in Pakistan tonight. Saima Mohsin from Dawn TV, thank you so much.
Thank you.